Good day, students. Welcome to this session as part of the research project on education, development, and democracy. So, in this session, I'll explain to you all how to apply for ethics online. You've all been provided with a particular link to the ethics website, but I'll just show it to you again. So, under announcements, once you log into Sunland, you will find it under announcements and then ethics application. You can see it's pinned as well. So, if you click on discussion, you'll find it over here. So, sorry, this is the particular link, applyethics.sun.ac.za. So once you've clicked on the link, you can also copy it. Alright, so this is the particular page that indicates you are now in the research ethics application site. So the first step that we would follow is, well, prior to that, you will notice that once you've created a particular project, it's always indicated over here. So I want to delete these two projects. So let's say I want to delete this one, number 2. Okay, and then let's say I want to delete another one. This one over there. Okay, ethics application for schools in Stellenbosch. That was the project. So let's say we are going to create a new project. On the left pane over here, this is where you will begin the process. So you will look for the icon that says create project. So it's over here. So if you click on create project, you will then be required to enter the particular project title. So let's say the title of the project is ethics application for Stellenbosch schools. Okay, and then once you have entered your project title, you will then be required to select the relevant application form. So the relevant application form is, well, that you would select is the REC, which stands for the Research Ethics Committee Humanities New Application Form. So once you've clicked on it, okay, you will then be required to, you can start creating your project. So I've clicked on create. It takes a few seconds, and now you will be directed to this particular page where it indicates ethics application for Stellenbosch schools, and that is the title of your project, so that you know you are always dealing with this particular project. Alright, so to proceed, you would then have to, if you scroll slightly down, you will find at the bottom of the screen close to section 1, REC, DESC, FESC information, and that is to proceed with the next step. So with your application form, you would click on that. So clicking it now. Alright, so then you are directed to the first section, which deals with the information, and you are asked a question as follows. This application will be routed to and reviewed by the REC Humanities. With the REC reviewer assigned to the application require professional medical expertise to review the potential risk of harm and benefits to participants. So if you click on yes, you will then be cautioned sorry, that you'd have to apply for health, you'd have to submit an application to the Health Research Ethics Committee. So if you click on no, you would then be required to answer the next question. Is the project funded by the USA federal funding sources and or National Institutes of Health funding sources? So if you click yes, you'll notice that you are now again required to submit an application to the Stellenbosch University Health Research Ethics Committee. So if you click on no, you won't be cautioned. So if you scroll down, you you need to select the relevant faculty. So please select the SU faculty or environment you are affiliated with. So you will select education. Once you have selected education, you need to select the relevant department. So the relevant department would be education policy studies. If you're on the field of curriculum studies, you would select that as well. Educational psychology and sports science, but we are on education policy studies. All right, so once you have selected the relevant department, you will hover again here on the left pane of the screen and you would click on next. So I'm clicking next. Okay, so now you're directed to the next section on the project title. So this is the title that I initially entered at, well, prior to starting the process. This is the this is where you can enter the full title of the research project. So let's say the title of the research project entails investigating the academic performance of grade 8 learners in a historically disadvantaged school. Okay, so that is the title of my research project. Okay, so once you've typed it, you've entered it, you will then be required to enter the abstract of your proposed study. You also notice on the right side there's these information boxes to assist you with writing up your abstract. Um, and so forth. Okay, so once you've typed in your abstract, you will then be required to upload your research proposal. So there's again an information box. So if you click on it, and it gives you some information in terms of ensuring that your project, your research proposal is of a good standard, so that once you have uploaded it, um, that it is quite a strong research proposal that would be hopefully be accepted by the ethics committee. So it's quite important for you to ensure that your research proposal is read by a critical reviewer to assist you in ensuring that your proposal is accepted. So if you would like, you could perhaps send me your mini proposals that you completed last semester. You could send it to me. I could read through it, and I could provide you with my own critical feedback with the hope of ensuring that your project is, or rather proposal is strong enough to be accepted by the ethics committee. Okay, so once you have uploaded your research, or once you are ready to upload your research proposal, you will click on upload document, and then you'd have to select from where the particular project is found. Okay, so right, and then you can upload the document. Let's close that. Okay, so under section 2, you will be asked whether the project forms part of a biomedical project. So if you click on yes, as was previously mentioned, you'll be asked the question whether the project was reviewed and approved by the Health Research Ethics Committee. So because it is a low risk research proposal, you would click on no. Okay, so is this project part of a collaborative research project by multiple institutions? So in other words, are you working with other universities, and are you working with other research agencies? So if you click on no, you can answer the next question. Is the project funded by an external organization other than Stellenbosch University or yourself? If you click yes, then you'd be required to enter the name of the organization. But if you are responsible for funding the project yourself, because it's the lowest project, that you would have to select now. Alright, so are there any other research projects or ethics applications that are related to or having been on this new application? You would click no. As I mentioned, it's a low risk research proposal. So the next section entails sharing data with external parties. Are you required to share your data with an external party, funder, sponsor, organization, commercial partner? No. Okay, so I'm scrolling down. Data collection timelines. Okay, very important. Have you started collecting data for this project? So if you click on yes, you need to motivate why you started collecting data prior to it being approved by the relevant committee, relevant research ethics committee. But if you click on no, then you need to indicate when you envisage to start collecting data. So let's say you hope to start in September, let's say the 11th. Right, so I intend starting the 11th of September. Section 2, familiarity with research ethics, norms, and standards. I confirm that I've consulted and familiarized myself with the SU policy on responsible research and integrity. So if you click on yes, you can also access the web page. Right, so it's just some information with regards to research integrity and ethics. Okay, and then you would be asked whether you've read through the Humanities Guide for Obtaining Ethics Approval. And to download the guide, you can click on this webpage again, the REC webpage, and these are the relevant documents that you could read through on your own. Right, so I'll click on that. And then the next question is, did you consult any other codes of research conduct ethics related to your discipline, field, profession in preparation for this project? If you click on yes, then you'd be required to mention the particular professional code of conduct. But if I click on no, it's not necessary. So once I've selected the relevant options, I would then refer back to the left pane and I would have to click next. So I'm clicking next. Okay, so this information pertains to you as the affiliated principal investigator, the PI, and you're asked whether the project pertains to a degree. So yes, it does. And then you'll be required to select the relevant degree. Yours is for an honors project. You're a part-time student. Will you conduct the study at your work? For instance, you're a teacher conducting research at your school, so you'll say yes. Please confirm your occupational role and the organization you work for. So let's say I am a teacher at Stellenbosch College. Okay. Alright, so once you have typed in that information, you will also find the other information pertaining to your details rather. You'll find over here. So this is my details. Okay. So then you'll be asked to indicate whether you are registered with any professional councils. So if you click on Click on yes, then you'd have to select the relevant council. Click on no, you can just move on. Are there any other SU affiliated persons working on this project as co-investigators or collaborators? No, because it's on this project and you're on your own. Alright, so under here you'd be required to enter the relevant supervisor. So let's say your supervisor, let's see, yeah. Alright, so um, let's say your supervisor is me. Once you've selected the relevant individual, you will find the information here again as well. Okay, so the next question pertains to external investigators and project personnel. Are there any other persons involved in this project who are not affiliated with Stellenbosch University? See, if you mention yes, then you'd have to indicate the relevant individual's details. If you click on no, you can just move on. Will research assistants be used to recruit participants and or collect data? You won't have research assistants, so no. Unless you do. If you click on yes, you are required to enter other information. Please provide details on any research ethics training and data collection training the field workers have received for the involvement in the project. Will field workers, research assistants be asked to sign a confidentiality agreement? Okay, so if you say yes, then you'd have to upload the confidentiality agreement form. So let's just go back here and click on now so we can move on. Okay, are you aware of any actual conflict of commitment or conflict of interest in proceeding with this study? So if you click on the I box, it will also explain to you other relevant information pertaining to that question. So if you click on, let's say yes, please identify your concerns and describe how you manage this conflict of commitment to this project. If you click on no, you can just move on. So if you click on next in the left pane, you can proceed. So I'm clicking next now. Okay, section 4. And this pertains to ethics clearance for the project. Do I need ethics clearance for this project? These screening questions will help you determine whether you need ethics clearance for the project. If one or more options are ticked, the project probably requires ethics review and clearance. If none of the options apply to the study, it is likely that your project does not need ethics review and clearance, that is exempt from ethics clearance. Please consult with your supervisor or DESC, FESC for the confirmation. Please read through the options carefully and think about whether they apply to your project before making a selection. So you would have to select the relevant information. Let's have a look at this. I will collect data from or interact with one or more individuals through interviews, surveys, focus groups, observations, video recording. So let's say yes. I need access to confidential data, information, or archival data, contact lists or reports of an organization or institution or company where the data is not available in the public domain, that is not available in the general public. The data can be linked to individuals or clients or employees. So let's say yes, you are. I'm collaborating with an institution that is giving me access to physical data or financial data that is not linked to individuals or any personal accounts. I've been granted access to this data by an authorized representative of the organization. So let's say yes. I will have access to a database archive that holds information linked to personal identifiers, that is names, ID numbers, account numbers, student numbers, and or the database contains code information, but I have access to the codes that links to information to the personal identifiers. So yes. I will gather information that is available in the public domain, but that could be regarded as sensitive or potential information. That is, you will collect data via social media networks or public profiles such as Twitter. So, see, you say yes. Um, it's quite important to identify which options would be most opposite to your research project. So I've just clicked on all of these, but yours would obviously vary from this. So if you click on none of the above, then you'll be given this information. You confirm that you will only collect data that is accessible in the public domain and that you will not have any interaction with individuals or the data that may be considered confidential and sensitive. The project may be exempt from ethics review unless the project involves animals or biosafety issues. Please complete the rest of the form and submit the application for DESC review. If the DESC confirms the project as exempt, you may commence with data collection as soon as you get the confirmation. So please read through this carefully before proceeding to the next section. So since your project does not require ethics review and approval, please confirm whether you need a formal letter acknowledging that your project is exempt from ethics clearance. So if you click yes, you can move on. Alright, so let's say you intend on interviewing students. So I will click on the first one. I will collect data from individuals through interviews, focus groups, and then I can begin to move on. You will notice also once I've clicked option 1, you should develop an informed consent process whereby prospective participants can give their voluntary and informed consent before they take part in the study. Note that in section 5 you'll be asked to attach an informed consent template that will be used to gather consent from participant respondents. So once you've clicked on that link, okay, so this is information pertaining to the written informed consent template, and then this is the written informed consent template for low risk research projects. So let's say alright, so once you have downloaded the consent template for low risk participants, you'll be required to ensure that the participants sign this form and that you as a principal investigator sign the form as well. So please read through the document and ensure that you adhere to the requirements of this consent form. Okay, so let's go back again. Okay, so I've selected option 1 and I can move on. So I'm referring again to the left pane, so I click on next. Sorry. Okay. Participant groups and vulnerable populations. My project involves the collection data from the following category of participants. Minors, so these are persons younger than 18, people living with HIV or AIDS, prisoners, people living with physical or mental disabilities, SU affiliated personnel, students, alumni, organizations, groups associated with the university. So if you intend on conducting research with students at the University of Stellenbosch, then you would select this option. Other participant group deemed as vulnerable individuals in a subordinate position to the person involved in the recruitment and selection process. For example, the recruiter is a medical doctor and the prospective participants will be his or her patients. Or the recruiter is a teacher and the prospective participant are his or her students. So if you are conducting research with your own students, you'll have to click on that over there. So once you have clicked on that information, or let's move on again. Let's say that the collection of data from participants could also include third-party members, such as family members or friends of participants who are indirectly involved in the study. Or if you click on none of the above, you can also select that option. So you'd have to select the following. So let's say it's Stellenbosch University students. You have indicated that you will involve SU persons or need access to SU data. Please specify the group or category of individuals and or SU information that you need access to. So you'd have to fill in the relevant information. But let's say you are dealing with your students, and then you'd have to fill in the relevant information there as well. Okay, so let's say you need to move on now. So you find under recruitment and selection process. Please specify who will be invited to take part in the study. So you need to mention you intend on inviting grade 8 learners at Stellenbosch College. How will participants be invited to take part in the study and what will they be asked to do? Also discuss how you will obtain informed consent from potential participants. So you need to indicate exactly how you intend on inviting them to be part of the study. If you mention that it is on a voluntary basis, then you need to indicate that over here. Okay, so will you use an advertisement or recruitment flyer to recruit participants? If you click on yes, you need to indicate the advert. If you click on no, you can just proceed. So now I will move back to the left pane and I will continue with my application. Okay. Informed consent process. If your project involves collecting data, information from individuals through a survey, or you wish to interact with individuals by way of personal interviews, focus groups, or any other interactive activities, then you need to develop an informed consent process by which participants can confirm voluntary informed consent. Okay, so I think we've downloaded the. Okay, we've clicked on this link already. That is for the template. Please select the applicable informed consent process. I will obtain the written consent from prospective participants. My participants will be asked to sign the informed consent form before data collection occurs. Let's say this. I will obtain consent from participants by means of an electronic consent process. You can do that as well. I will use verbal informed consent. Note that a verbal consent process can only be approved with sufficient justification as to why a written or electronic consent process is not appropriate. And then if you click on none of the above, you need to motivate why informed consent will not be obtained from individuals to participate in the study. Note that your request for a waiver of informed consent must be reviewed and approved at a formal REC meeting. So let's say that you intend on acquiring written consent. Sorry. Will participants be allowed to refuse to answer questions during the data collection process? Okay, let's say yes. Alright, So, will the participants be given the right to withdraw from participating in the study at any given time during the project? Say yes. Please explain how you will manage the withdrawal of participants and the data should the situation arise. Make sure that you inform participants of this in your consent process form. So it's important to ensure that they have the right to withdraw um, their consent from the entire data collection process. Okay, so will participants, respondents be given a copy of the informed consent form or an information sheet to take home for their own personal reference? Recommended for projects of medium or high risk. So it's not applicable. Yours is low risk. Okay, please upload the informed consent template that will be used to confirm consent from participants. So this is the document that you would acquire from the REC page for low risk projects. So once you filled in the relevant information, they've signed it, you've signed it, upload the document over here. Will the informed consent be used for data collection be translated into any language other than English? If you click on yes, make sure that the translations translated documents are an accurate and complete representation of the original document, or that the translator is accredited or competent in the language. So let's say no. Then you can proceed to the next section. Okay, mitigation of potential risk of harm. What is the likelihood that participants may be exposed to potential physical, emotional, economic, reputational, and psychological risks during the course of or after participation in the research study? Say no, low. If there is the potential risk for physical injury while participating in the study, it is prudent to register the project with SU finances or insurance cover. Is the potential for physical injury likely in this project? Let's say no. Sorry. If an unexpected emergency situation is revealed during the research, whether it is caused by your research or not, will it immediately be reported to your supervisor, promoter, and or HOD for further advice? Let's say yes. But yours will be a low research, so um, please justify why you will not report the situation to the parties mentioned above. I think because it's a low risk project, you do not foresee how the participants would be involved in any form of injury. So you need to justify that it's a low risk project and the fact that the participants won't be involved in um, any forms of activities that would cause harm to them as participants. Okay, so once you fill in that information, you can then move on to the next section. So I'll click on next. Okay. Protection of privacy, confidentiality, and anonymity. All research data, which includes signed consent forms, responses, and personal, confidential, or identifiable information, must be securely stored and inaccessible to unauthorized persons. Please describe how you will store research data and protect it from unauthorized access. Also confirm when and how you will destroy any personal data once the project is completed, if personal data was collected. So then you can mention that you will store the information in your computer, you will have a password there to prevent anyone from accessing the data. And once you have completed the research project, it will then be deleted. Okay, will you ensure participants' right to confidentiality, example, the identities, response, and personal information during and after the research process? So let's say yes. Describe in detail how confidentiality will be maintained. And say that you will use pseudonyms to protect the identity of the participants. How will you maintain anonymity of participants, organizations? Please specify the options that apply to your project. Participants will not be identifiable throughout the research process. That is, not identifiable information will be collected. No personal interaction with participants will take place, and nobody will be able to link a survey response to a particular individual. So let's say yes. And then you would have to mention, please describe how you will ensure full anonymity of participants through the data collection process. Let's say that you decide to click on the other information. Participants will not be identifiable in the written research report. And then you'd have to describe how you will de-identify participants in your research report. That is, using unique codes, pseudonyms, etc. It's none of the above. Please state why anonymity cannot be ensured protected for this project. Please also confirm in the text box below whether participants will be informed that anonymity cannot be ensured. So let's say, we're selecting the second one using pseudonyms. If unexpected, unsolicited information is revealed during the research process, will you keep such data confidential and only reveal this information if required by law? So let's say yes. Okay, so we've selected the relevant options and we can now move on. Okay, identification of research methods, data collection tools. Please select the data collection method tools that you will use for this project and attach to the document as required. So let's say you intend on conducting focus group interviews with your participants. You would then upload the document and then let's say you're searching for the relevant document and then you just upload the document over here. Okay, data collection tools continued. Please select the options applicable to the study. I'm using an instrument that is classified by law as a psychometric psychological test. I'm using an existing instrument to which copyright applies, that is, I did not develop this tool. So let's say none of the above. We can then move on to the next section. Okay, section 8, institutional permission. For the purpose of the study, you need access to an institution, company, organization's information, data, workspace personnel, clients, and or service users. Then written permission may be required from the relevant authorities or gatekeepers of the organization before you can get access to the data persons. Please note that it remains your responsibility to ensure that permission is obtained before data collection commences. Okay, so is gatekeeper permission required to access information individuals for the study? Say no. You can also, if you need information with regards to that, you can click on the I box over here. So let's click on no, and I decide to move on now. Okay, please provide any additional information that you deem relevant to this application. You can also pose questions to the relevant DESC, FESC, REC about a particular ethical issue that you need advice on. So if you have any relevant information, You can enter it over here. Please upload any additional documents, files that you deem relevant to this application. Once again, you can upload additional documents. And then there's information with regards to the willingness to be contacted for research purposes. In this section, you are required to indicate your willingness to participate in research studies dealing with research ethics and with the research process. The Research Ethics Committee at Stellenbosch University are part of the academic complex. As such, vital research on the research process and ethics of research are encouraged. Future research carried out for the purpose may involve the tracking of REC review decisions on particular types of applications or reviewing the amount and types of applications that are submitted to the REC over a certain period. In some instances, researchers may also request permission to contact individuals associated with particular types of ethics applications, example student applications, in order to obtain further information needed for the research study. You are requested to give your consent as to whether some information provided in your application can be used exclusively for research regarding ethics and ethics processes, and whether authorized researchers may contact you regarding that information. Although the questions are mandatory, you may answer yes or no to any of the questions without any negative consequence with respect to your current or future applications to RDC. Please indicate your willingness to participate in such research by answering the following questions. You will always be able to modify your choice by informing the RDC office. Please note that any research that is conducted using RDC records will first need to be reviewed and approved by a research ethics committee. So, the information provided in this application may be used in research focusing on research and ethics, provided that it is anonymized and aggregated with other data, or the approved researchers may contact me regarding information submitted here in order to request further information and or my participation in further research, or if you click on none of the above, it won't apply to you. So this information pertains to the RDC using some of your your research data for research with regards to ethics. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, in this section you are asked to classify your project according to the DESC RDC risk classification form. The RDC Humanities classifies and reviews projects according to this risk classification system rather than classifying projects according to degree level or seniority of the applicant. The concept of risk in the context of research ethics review applies primarily to potential risk to human research participants that may present itself out of participation in research activities. An action, procedure, or method used in research and in its reporting that can compromise the dignity, rights, safety, and well-being of participants in the research or those affected by the research. Certain projects may also hold potential risks to the researcher or the research team and institution. Please visit the RDC website for the RDC Risk Classification Guide. So you would have to indicate the particular risk classification. Yours is low risk. The DSC will review a project and confirm whether the risk classification is accurate. Please wait for the DSC's confirmation of approval before commencing the data collection. Established ethical standards apply. Important note, the DSC's approval of study as low risk is provisional. The ethics clearance certificate is issued by the RDC Humanities after the RDC has audited and ratified the DSC's decision. The RDC Humanities has the prerogative to request further modifications, additional information, or refer to a project for additional review following ratification. So if you select that it's a low risk, you can then move on. Okay, so you're now finalizing the application form. By submitting this application for ethics review, I declare that I will conduct my research in compliance with the professional codes of ethics and guidelines for ethical responsible research relevant to my field of study. The SU policy on responsible research conduct and the Department of Health's guidelines in ethics in health research, principles, processes, and structures, even if my research process possess low ethical risks. So let's say you've read it and you are to move on now. Okay, so note for the student, you confirm that you are a student conducting this research for degree purposes. To submit this application, you need to request your supervisor's signature first to confirm his or her approval to your ethics application. And for the supervisor promoter, I, as the supervisor of the student, declare that I have read and reviewed the full content of this application for scientific soundness, accuracy, and completeness, and I'm accountable for the ethical conduct of the research. So it's important for you to acquire your supervisor's signature. You can also read your supervisors should refer to the supervisor guide for instructions on how to sign the application. So your supervisor should read this relevant information and then click on request signature below. You'll be asked to enter your supervisor's email address. Please confirm that you typed the email address correctly. If you get a message that the user does not exist, please contact the RDC office to confirm your supervisor's correct email address. Once you send the request, the application will be locked until your supervisor responds. Once the supervisor responds to the signature request by signing the application form, the application will be submitted to proceed. So let's click on request signature. You will notice also that I did not fill in most of the information, majority of the information. So if you have not completed the relevant information, it will indicate here that before you can proceed with the final step, you need to complete this. So let's say I did not finish the summary, and then it will take you back there, over there. And let's say I just want to save this project and then complete it at a later stage. I can do that as well. Just save it. So once you've completed the relevant information and you've received approval from your supervisor that your supervisor is willing to approve this project, then you will then the application will be sent to the DESC for review. So if there are any other questions that you have pertaining to your ethics application, please do not hesitate to contact me via email. As well as, you can use the discussion forums if you have any questions pertaining to the ethics application. As I mentioned, if you would like me to read your mini proposals, I can read through it and provide my critical feedback before you send it to your supervisor, and then hopefully your ethics application would be approved by the relevant committee. Okay, thank you for the session, and good luck with the rest of your project. Thank you. Goodbye.